Welcome back to Absolutely. My name is Benny, that is Hassan, and that is Sal. And today we're going to do a San Diego Comic-Con roundup of trailers. Now, some of these we've already seen, some of these we haven't. You're going to see clips of them on this video, but we're not going to watch any of these trailers in full in this video because there's going to be silence of the ones that we don't know anything about. Then you're going to get our overall opinion of the trailer, and we're going to move on because, as you can see, I have 30 minutes of trailers pulled up, and I don't think Sal wants to do a 3-hour video. So
I didn't even see half of these trailers.
I didn't either, which is why I thought it'd be fun to do them live. Like, we can watch them live and certain clips can get thrown in. And Dylan can deal with that editing disaster later.
Oh my God. All right.
So I do want to say today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, G Fuel. Use the code COMICS at checkout. Get yourself 10% off of your order. If you enjoy our content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We're still trying to hit 100,000 subs. We got a long road to go and would love you to join the family and be there with us. All right, let's get into it because I got a lot. All right, so the first up on this list is The End Is Nigh with Bill Nye.
Benny, I don't think we're not going to have anything to say about this.
I'm excited that Bill Nye's getting another show, despite the fact that he is a colossal dick.
Oh my God, he is.
Okay, so Bill Nye, the whole idea here, Hudson, is he'll put in like a couple clips or whatever. So Bill Nye is The End Is Nigh. What do you guys think? Are we going to watch that?
I'm not going to watch it because I would never pay for Peacock, but I will say I'm very, Bill Nye is responsible for anyone, over the age of, 15's love of science. And,
right. Oh, yeah.
Despite the fact that he is a colossal douche nozzle in person, he has done so much for, the ignition of science in children's minds. He gets a pass. Good for him.
All right, what do you think, Hudson? I mean, I don't...
Same boat.
Normally, those kinds of shows, I've really got to be into the concept of them, and nothing about that struck me as, I gotta watch this.
It's Bill. If you don't like Bill, you're not gonna care.
Yeah, right. No, Bill's cool. I'm probably not gonna watch it, but if it comes on, I'm not gonna be like, this is the most terrible thing ever.
Right. Oh no, it's Bill Nye. Yeah,
I'm glad just for the nostalgia factor, he's gonna be back on screens because Sal hit it on the head. So many people were inspired to become scientists and do things based on that colossal douche nozzle. He's
such a jerk. I've met him in person. He is a complete asshole.
Oh,
is he?
What?
Oh.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
The next batch on here are all superhero ones, which I believe we've all already seen. If you haven't watched any of them, we'll watch it then. But otherwise, the first one is She-Hulk, which I do know we've seen because we had a discussion about it. Yep. Overall opinions of She-Hulk, I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. So I think the CG still looks terrible in my opinion, but I've gotten to the point where problem is it looks like PS3 graphics. Okay,
honestly, I if the story is compelling and the acting's great, the CG will always be forgiven. The show looks fun, the premise is great, and so I hope it's good.
I stayed up super late last night watching the new season of The Umbrella Academy, and it is the definition of bad CG. It really is.
Right.
But the show is so good, I couldn't care less that this literally looks like a high school broadcast room CGI green screen scene because it's so good. And I feel like She-Hulk, the way it looks, it's going to be exactly that. Whatever's not good will be made up for by really compelling performances and something really funny and entertaining. So
exactly.
I think the biggest issue I have is there's She-Hulk. I've got her on the screen right now, and Dylan can find an image of She-Hulk. And that doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look good. But they're using the model for Mark Ruffalo, who had a much larger budget.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. That's what they had, right?
I mean, just look at them side by side here. It's just, when you could, I think that's the problem I'm having at this point, is we're going to compare it to Hulk. And Hulk looks fine because his animations and everything were done initially by this crazy expensive studio.
Yeah.
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 That's fair. He's only going to be in, I think what I understand to be 2 episodes of it. First episode, probably last episode, realistically.
Yeah.
So
I think he's going to be in it more. I think he is.
I hope so. I would have no complaints. I love Mark Ruffalo. I'm always down to see him more.
Yeah, I don't think Mark Ruffalo is too good to be in a Marvel show. I think
absolutely.
I think he'd be happy to do it.
I know Daredevil's going to be in it a lot more than we all thought, because if you read the rumors, apparently the writers thought Daredevil was a prank. So basically, they just kept writing Daredevil into scenes, assuming it was going to be stopped, and someone had pranked them. So he's apparently been written into a lot of scenes. And they got to film them all. So,
oh my God, that's gonna be great! I love seeing Charlie Cox back in it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited. This trailer was like they have a fun energy as a cast. Like it's already just feeling like it's no one's taking each other too seriously. Everything just feels fun. It's Marvel. I see Wong there, but Wong is being campy Wong.
Yeah,
Since
Wong's gonna be in the show a lot.
He's the new Stan Lee, you know?
Yeah. He's the new Stan.
All right, next up on this, and I just typed over to Dylan, it's going to be a great idea if he puts up the logos for every movie and show, so it's like a title card so people can see what they're actually trying to get our opinions on.
Oh, sweet.
Shazam 2. Now, we already also watched this trailer. Yep. We've already discussed this trailer and the DC discussion panel that we did. So overall, I think this is going to be fun. I like the idea of him still not fighting Black Adam and exploring the very few villains in the Shazam repertoire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that the Mary Marvel actress aged up since the last movie, so she is just playing her Shazam self. I was like, I love that a lot.
Yep.
She looks great in the role. They all do.
Yeah, they're all
and
the
their
kids.
suits are top tier this time around.
Yes.
Oh my god, they look incredible. Everyone got an upgrade.
No, I love the creative team. I'm excited for Shazam 2, despite the fact that I would never have said that if you had asked me 10 years ago.
I've always liked the idea of Shazam, but he's kind of like the problem I had with Superman for a while. Whenever he did things, they just wrote him boringly. Like, okay, Superman's awesome, but you gave me another boring story.
Yep.
Where
We live in a reality where a rip-off Superman character has a sequel before Superman.
Yeah, that would blows my mind. Can we discuss that for a moment? That they're like, we don't know how to make Superman relatable to every, and it's like, oh, there's 80 years of comics you can pick from, but whatever. And they're like, but we have figured out how to make Shazam relatable. What?
What?
Billy
They
Batson's
can't
a
figure out how to
kid.
sell Shazam comics.
Here's the thing. Will Superman sell? We don't know, but there's a kid in this one, so he's got to sell good, you know? The kids love seeing kids in the movies.
That's why Robin exists.
Next up, we have Black Adam. Black Adam came out with its not much new revealed in this, but we did get to see a lot more of basically The Rock in the suit. At this point, the movie's coming out, thankfully.
Yep. Finally.
Right? It's about time.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. What about you, Hudson? Because I don't think you were in the other discussion for this.
I truly don't care. I'll probably go see it because it'll be hyped up, and I'll wait for the initial reviews before I decide to go see it in theaters or not. Because truly, like, I've never cared about that casting. I'm not a big what do you call it, Teth Adams fan. I've never been a big fan of that character, so I'm going with it. And when Dwayne The Rock Johnson's in roles, he often has a habit of just making the role with Dwayne Johnson. So if he's acting, I'm all in, and I think it's going to be great. But if he's doing Dwayne Johnson in Dwayne Johnson face, I'm not about it. So
Same.
I mean, we'll see. I like The Rock, so I'm aboard at that. But I mean,
I like it in certain movies. Like in certain movies, I'm like, oh yeah, just be Dwayne. Be Dwayne in Fast and the Furious. Be Dwayne in your monster movie where you're going to wear tan in the woods for the third time this year.
Yeah.
But you know. He was fun in like in Fast 5. He plays Hobbs. He plays like a whole character where he's got a Southern accent, and then he's like, now I'm Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We're gonna tie in together my backstory and all that.
Okay.
So, all right, next up we got the Black Panther 2. We also already discussed this one heavily, so we'll just kind of brief overview. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
This could be it, man. Like, because it looks so good. It's well shot.
It is.
It is.
The music
Ryan Coogler.
choices, that song merging at the end.
Oh my god! Which, hey, Stranger Things tie-in. The same people that did the remix for Running Up the Hill.
Yeah.
In Stranger Things did the same remix. Which
Nice.
Everything we gon' be all right. That's one of my favorite transitions ever. It's also one of my favorite songs ever by Kendrick Lamar too. So that's just. I'm excited about it. I bumped into somebody that's in the movie that finished filming it, and they were in Los Angeles and a thing. And we had a nice little talk about it. They didn't give me any big spoilers, but they did just leave me on enough to be like, I feel comfortable that this movie will have legs to stand on. Nice. It's going to be tough to see if people love it all the way, but you know, it's tough with anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, next up on our list, we have one that I know we have not seen yet. Maybe you guys saw it in your own, but we'll replay it here because it is shorter anyway. The I Am Groot trailer dropped, which I was surprised. Actually, it looks like something I actually would care to watch.
Well, definitely watch. It's adorable. I bet there was a Disney executive that was flipping their crap when they're like, why'd you age up Baby Groot? Why is Baby Groot an adult again? Turn back the clock. And they gave him this series as like make up for it. He's adorable, and I will watch it. Merchandising looks great.
He is cute. Yep.
John Wick is John Wick. I'll see it.
Yep, another John Wick movie. Okay.
I like Keanu. I appreciate him,
great.
and I like to support him. But yeah, I could do without another John Wick for now.
I'm just glad it's not a show.
Yeah. Oh my God, John Wick the show.
Which
I wonder
you know
if
they're
Keanu
like,
would
"Could we?"
do a show.
He would
And
do
I-
it if it was the John Wick show and it was paying him the same number.
He would do anything if it's a good idea. I feel like he's one of those actors we don't have to worry about the
The quality
ego on it.
control. Yeah.
Now, the only problem I have with John Wick 4, and I'm starting the statement by stating I love the John Wick trilogy.
Okay.
The problem I have with John Wick 4 is how many are we going to get before it starts to feel like, okay, this should have ended 2 ago or 3 ago, or you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
right now I think we're good, but at 3 they just started expanding on the world, and I'm like, oh, the world's kind of interesting. Like, what's really going on here? What do you guys think?
I would never watch a John Wick spin-off movie.
Right, which is what I felt like they were trying to go for.
I think so too.
But no, we're just doing John Wick
I'm
4.
not gonna watch this one. I don't care. It's like that. I've never been big into like just like pointless action movies, I guess, and which like not to disrespect the creative team behind it or Keanu Reeves, but like it's not like a masterpiece or anything like that. I like comic book movies like that, but feels like they're just kind of boring. It's just like how many cool action set pieces, and I'll watch the action set pieces on YouTube and appreciate those, but I'm not super interested in like the fights themselves.
I mean, I liked John Wick 1, and I loved the choreography in 2 and 3. I thought that was amazing. But you are right. At this point, I don't find the world as interesting as watching Keanu Reeves doing these insane stunts, which is what he's doing right now. It reminds me as a kid of like Jackie Chan movies, where it's like, I don't care what's really happening in the movie. Jackie Chan's kicking a barrel into like 8 guys and jumping up the wall. And
No reason to see it. That's right.
Yeah.
Except for Rush Hour, which is equal parts plot and
Rush
action.
Hour 1 and 2, genius.
3, Brett Ratner.
Oh,
Is Brett
damn it, Brett
Ratnering
Ratner.
all over the screen.
He made. Well, didn't he make the first 2?
Yeah, and then he Brett Ratner. Like at first he directed movies, and then he was like, I got a style that I got to go with. So then he ruined movies. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great. He thought he was
classic.
creative. I've
So,
never seen
all
any
right.
other John Wick movies. I've only seen the first one. I've seen
Next
the other
up-
John Wick 2 and 3.
I saw 2.
you two don't care about Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like watching this
I
trailer
mean,
is going to do
I've
nothing.
played it a lot, but I saw this
All right.
trailer. It looks
Okay, you've seen-
bad.
That's my problem. Like, I'm gonna watch it because I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan. I have a side channel called Dungeons and Ale where you can watch me play Dungeons and Dragons, and this just looks like every other Hollywood attempt to monetize Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
Like
This
they're
looks
gonna
like-
put in known monsters and known characters. The plot's gonna be terrible. The movie's gonna be terrible because what makes Dungeons and Dragons interesting is your friends in your adventures. It's not taking known, because the problem with Dungeons and Dragons is all of these creatures are taken from other things. So there's nothing that's Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe the owl bear, but I can almost guarantee that's in something else as well.
Right.
Like dragons are not Dungeons and Dragons. Dragons are a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's my problem. This is generic fantasy adventure. I'm going to see it. I'll force one of you to see it and talk about it with me.
Right.
I'm not expecting much.
I saw the first one in theaters, and so I'm
did
sure this
too.
will be better.
No,
So,
Marlon Wayans is
I
great
mean-
in that one.
You want to make a Dungeons and Dragons movie? There is one. It's called Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I don't know. I'll probably see it. I want to say, like, I really missed fantasy genre. I'm sad that it's been gone for as long as it has been, and that like Narnia was kind of the death of that. That since Narnia, we really haven't had as many people in medieval armor on the big screen. And,
I think the
and
Golden
doing-
Compass was the killer.
Oh
of
yeah, that
where
one.
they were like,
Oh.
"That's a bridge too far. No more."
No more. It's over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. I would love it if it was good though. But,
Right.
you know,
Totally.
we'll see.
Yeah, isn't it funny how like Lord of the Rings, it's like such a simple premise. Like it's a classic trilogy, it's a classic book series, it's from an incredible author, but like it's a simple system. Like the costumes are good, the effects are a blend of CG and practicality. Looks like a good thing. But it's a simple premise, it's a simple story, and on paper it's like duh. But every time they've tried to make something like it, they failed. Not just like a little. It's a colossal
Yeah.
failure.
We have
Yeah.
two comments from our chat here I want to bring up. First, Flashbill said it should just be like Jumanji, which, yeah, I think that would do a lot better. when
With
they get
children
sucked in.
playing
Oh my
it. Yeah.
god, that's a great idea. That's
Secondly,
a fantastic idea.
Another
Yeah.
person said, "Oh, Benny, you have it backwards. Ever ripped off D&D?" No, actually, the obsession with fantasy stuff started with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings' first print came out in 1954. D&D's first print came out in 1974. Everything that you see in D&D reflects what was in Lord of the Rings because they were taking the concepts of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And then they transformed them into themselves. Then D&D got slightly popular in the 80s. People started taking off of their ideas, and it just continued to spiral out of control. But
Yeah.
the first well-known fantasy property was Lord of the Rings in 1954. So come at me, bro.
Yeah.
And then in a small town in 1986 in Hawkins, Indiana, so the kids were playing D&D, and it caused a whole mess of things to go down.
All kinds of strange things took place.
And I love this other chat here. Stranger Things is the D&D movie / TV show. It is. They're using
Oh, it
Vecna.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, they without spoiling it, they lay out the plot of the movie in the very beginning when they have like a D&D session, and in it they literally explain what happens.
Yeah.
They tell you what happens in the session or in the series, and it happens exactly the way it says it will.
Right.
So I love the Jumanji idea. I think that could be really, really fun of just like plugging in, and then you get to know these characters a little bit. I think it might function better as like a series than it would as a movie then at that point.
Yeah.
Give us time to know the characters so we appreciate their journeys as their dungeon masters, their characters and stuff. Like Community. Oh my God, Community's Dungeons and Dragons episode is so good.
Easily.
You can only find it on Amazon Prime though because
what a shame that they cut that.
Oh, I know. Okay, I want to continue
Speaking
this
of Lord of
argument
the Rings.
here of which came first, because I know someone else is going to jump in the comments down below. They're like, no, you were talking about the characters that were ripped off from D&D. Okay, give me I will not deny that D&D invented some characters, like what I said with Owlbear.
Yeah.
But give me a list for list character of everything in D&D and everything in Lord of the Rings, and try to tell me that Lord of the Rings didn't start the whole fantasy genre kind of a thing.
we can Google it. It's based on it. It literally is, and it's like there's not like a question.
I'm having a fun argument for once. For once, it's not a troll trying to attack me, Hudson.
That's true.
Let me enjoy this, because I'm
I
also.
thought it was, and I was trying to
Oh,
protect
no,
you, Benny.
no,
I just
no.
want to protect you, okay?
All I'm saying
break
is
your heart anymore.
the concepts of Lord of the Rings were taken out of the popularity of Lord of the Rings, and then the concepts of Dungeons and Dragons then spiraled into more fantasy literature and all that crap. But if you go way back, fantasy literature became more prevalent and popular in the 19th. Is that the 19th century or the 20th century? I think
Which one?
20th century.
The 20th
The
century is
1900s to
1900s.
2000.
Yeah, 20th.
Okay, 20th century, just because of Lord of the Rings kind of propelling it further.
Yeah.
Before that, though, even then, we still had knights and dragons, because people have always been fascinated with medieval fantasy kind of concepts. The ideas of dragons came out of giant lizard theories and rumors. Like, this stuff all came out of stuff, so...
Dragons are real. What are you talking about?
Haven't you seen Reign of Fire?
Literally, they're extinct, but they lived for a long
They
time.
were real.
Oh, to join into this fun argument before we move to literally the Lord of the Rings trailer, which is why this is so great that I'm having this argument now. Dana's linked me a literal statement, which is from Screen Rant, so we can't trust it for shit. But
Right. Oh, perfect.
it's clear that Dungeons and Dragons was inspired by the Lord of the Rings books, but the similarities between the two properties were a problem for the Tolkien estate, leading to legal action that caused them to change things in the tabletop game. So,
Wow.
but once again, this is all fun. I don't feel like that guy was a troll in the chat. He was just
No.
trying to like inform me, and I know people are going to go over. Hence why I was explaining the whole situation to our viewers who are watching this on the YouTube side. Anyway, Lord of the Rings. I have not seen this trailer yet. I was waiting for you, Sal.
Me either.
Please be better. Please be better. Please be better.
I hope it isn't, because I don't want to watch it. I'm good on Lord of the Rings.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, the visuals look great.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
They
I'm
did
not
clean
seeing,
the
like-
visuals up. The first trailer was terrible.
Yes.
Laughable.
I see a lot of practical effects and a lot of like
Yeah.
decent CGI.
They cleaned
now.
that up really. Like so far, I've yet to have a scene where I'm like, is that really in a AAA $200 million an episode show?
Exactly.
That with the first trailer, I had that reaction. This one is a lot better. It beats She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Marvel needs to find this studio.
And then run it into the ground.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lord of the Rings real quick. The trailer CG looks 10 times better than the original one. Okay,
Yeah.
like it actually looks like something that's watchable. But I have a couple direct problems with this. Being a fan of the Lord of the Rings, one, it's a prequel. We know where it's gonna go. They're gonna like Sauron's gonna get into power, take the rings, blah 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 blah. Unless they do some time altering shit, which we know they shouldn't. Two, why is this being made? Like this,
Yeah.
You're filling in gaps that are
Money. It's just
money I get, but it's like we're filling in gaps that no one asked for, no one really wanted, and we already know the ending of it. It's the problem
Yeah.
with the prequels in Star Wars. They weren't terrible, there's parts, but they weren't terrible overall. But we knew where it was gonna go. Anakin was gonna go down the dark side. Like,
right. Right, but like you have to, it's about getting more. I mean, like, but prequels by definition shouldn't exist because, like, the story is the story.
Right, yeah.
If I left something out, it's because it's not important or you don't need to know it. And this is again, it's just we paid for the property and we want to make more money off of it. I mean, like,
I just don't know why they wouldn't do a sequel, because then you could do anything.
Because
They
the
don't have to worry-
sequels would be really depressing. There's no more magical creatures. Humans are in charge. The elves have left. You don't want to do a sequel to Lord of the Rings. That's a
true.
misery fest. It's just watch Aragorn wither and die. Watch the kingdom of men fall and burn. Watch us eventually invent Wi-Fi. Like, it sucks.
So I originally, when I heard that this was happening, I guess I misunderstood. So I thought it was just like they're redoing Lord of the Rings,
Yeah,
but like
me
in a
too.
series format, which I was like, okay, I could go for that. Cause I watched Lord of the Rings for the very first time this last year actually. And like all the extended editions, and a lot of it was, I like Lord of the Rings for sure. I like it, but I was like, this could be greatly improved upon by like really good writers of like scripts and stuff. The actors are great, and no disrespect to them, and they did great for the time that they were making it. And the practical effects are, oh my God, second to none, honestly. But I was like, it's very campy by accident, not by intention at times. And I'm like, I would love to see that and that universe be brought into the modern world. Not like this though. I don't like prequels. Yeah, I've never liked
Not like
prequels.
this.
I don't like the idea of retreading water that is already dried up. The well is already gone, so why are we sitting
Yeah.
here trying to swim in it? I wouldn't mind a sequel if we find a reason to bring magic back into the world for some reason. Like you double back on it, but that's the only way to make that work. Which would be a spit in the face to a lot of fans who are like, "No, it's over." Then it
Right.
became the modern world after that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's Lord of the Rings, man. Like it was invented as a like replacement for mythology for English folklore, because like English folklore sucks. Like that Tolkien's like, this sucks. Like our myths are lame, and I'm like, as an American, yeah, our myths are lame. Lame as
we have
lame
Lake
AF.
Champ. We have the champ.
We have Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed. Like, that sucks, man. I would love to have like orcs and goblins and
Yo,
wizards.
we also
and
have
crap.
John Henry born with a hammer in his hand.
That's
It's
one.
that-
John
that's
Henry's
one great
dope.
one.
That's the
He's
one.
great. He's my favorite. Oh
Yeah,
man.
no, he's awesome.
So
Unfortunately, he
and
died.
Just so we
but, you know.
just so we can keep moving, because we have a few more trailers here. You guys gonna watch it? I'll watch it, and we can talk
Yeah,
about Hudson.
I'll watch it.
Are you down, Sal?
Maybe we'll see.
Well, Sal will be in the first episode. We'll see.
Exactly.
I'm locked in. I'll watch.
All
it.
right, here's the Prey trailer. Sal and I saw this, so let's get Hudson's reaction. Are you? Hold on, you're a kid. Have you even seen
You've never
Predator
even seen
1
a
instead
Predator
of-
movie, have you?
I've seen a Predator movie. I've seen
Which
one.
one?
I've seen
I think
one.
you. I don't. I have
was
no. I
the
couldn't tell you.
Predator?
Probably. I just watched a Predator movie back in the day. I probably won't watch this. I have no like nostalgic love for Predator. Predator shows up in random things in pop culture, and I'm always supposed to care, but you know, I'm not.
I'm going to make a comment here because we had a comment in our chat. Same guy that argued with me about D&D and Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Argued in a fun way. Praise that go to theaters is not a great sign. And that's exactly what I said to Sal when we got to go to the original showing for this. Now, we can't spoil anything, but I can tell you our reaction. I loved this movie. This movie was
great.
incredible.
It's great.
I have no idea why it's not going to theaters.
Because Disney inherited it. This was made by 20th Century Fox, and then Disney bought Fox, and they were like, "What am I going to do with this Predator movie?" They still hadn't even like made Disney Plus yet, so they're like, "I don't know what the hell to do with this." And so they went, "We'll throw it on Hulu. That's like our R-rated thing." I think it's actually Prey is going to come to like European Disney Plus. So like if you're on Australia or whatever, like you getting Prey on Disney Plus.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, no, it's on Hulu. They don't want to spend the money, and of course, like it was the decision was made during the lockdowns. So I think they're
Except
just
during the panel, it was like at San Diego Comic Con, they're like, I think we should.
Yeah.
How about we stream it?
Well, I was gonna say
I
the
mean-
pandemic, but it's like it ain't over. So it's like just during the lockdowns, they decided like, oh, it's going to Hulu. That way, people will freaking watch it. Then it's like, oh, people are
Yeah.
going to the movies again. Oops.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just gonna say the Predator looks amazing. The story is great. The cast is great. They all
Yep.
do a great job. And the overall, my only complaint about this movie is it does get to a point where you're kind of like, okay, are they gonna fight the Predator now?
Right. It's like because the way that a perfect Predator plot goes is you have a pretty okay action movie, and then 2/3 of the way through, a Predator shows up and changes the entire movie. So it's like,
Right.
Predator 1 is there's a bunch of like South American guerrillas that are being funded by the Soviets to run guns across the border, but then the Predator shows up and everyone's dead. Predator 2, there's two rival gangs during a heat wave in Los Angeles, and things are going bad for our lowly cop on the street, and then the Predator shows up. Like, that's the way the movie should go. Predator, or Prey is, like, there's a Comanche woman who wants to prove that she can be a hunter, but her, like, male-dominated culture believes that she should be in one position and not this, and she wants to prove herself. And then the Predator shows up. Like, that's the movie.
Yep.
But there's a lot of not Predator for a while, and but like because it's so beautifully shot and like you really get into like the Comanche culture and like the world that she lives in, and it's like this is pretty cool. Plus, there's an adorable dog, and it's a real dog, and it's not like CG, so it looks like crap.
The CG is minimal in that. They use so many practical effects, and it just made the movie look amazing.
Agreed.
So.
No, it's a solid flick. If you have a chance, August 5th, Hulu, watch it. I want to see not a sequel, but like this is what you do with Predator movies now, folks. You don't reinvent the wheel. You just set Predator in different time periods. Predator versus the Comanche Nation. Predator versus a lone gunslinger in the Old West. Predator in feudal Japan fighting a lone Ronin. Predator fighting like a bunch of pirates on a pirate ship. Like these are your movies, not like whatever the hell the Predator was. That's it. Go.
Okay, next up then with the go. We have a trailer for Chucky Season 2. Now, I don't want to watch this because I didn't know there was a Chucky Season 1.
It debuted at like New York Comic Con last year. We were like,
look, man,
what?
As a guy who has a creepy doll in his house at all times anyways, I simply don't need any more fuel for the horror of my life.
Is this like a horror anthology, or is this like actually Chucky? Like Chucky's just running around murdering people for a whole season of a show?
I don't know. Good question.
Great question.
Thanks, Mick.
We're going to skip over this because none of us watched Chucky Season 1. That's the fact here. So
we're good. That's
which leads to Sandman. Sal, you've already watched this trailer, right?
I think so.
Okay, I was like, because you're the only one that's gonna really have an opinion on this one, I think.
Right? Yeah. Like it looks. I mean, like Gaiman is deliberately like reinventing Sandman for this, and it's like Sandman is distinctly and definitively like an '80s concept. It feels like an '80s comic. It was meant to like change everything, and it did. It redefined what like comic books could be, and it influenced like the British invasion of comic books in the like late '80s, and it's like it is a revolutionary comic book that everyone who fancies themselves a comic book fan should read. That being said, this is a show, and it's like using concepts, characters, and ideas from the comic book, but redefining them and re-updating them and recontextualizing them because Gaiman wants to be a movie executive and not a comic book writer. So like, it's not going to be the same thing. Everyone who
I hope it's good though. I genuinely hope it.
There's a sequence that they released of Death doing her thing, and it's well shot, it's well acted, it's consistent with Death's character such that it is, because Death is supposed to be like, I always fancied her an American goth girl, but like not in this. So I don't know, but it's still, I think there'll be value. I hope people derive meaning from it, but I also hope it doesn't supersede, overwrite, or change people's idea about what the comic book is, because I think that's more valuable.
I've never read Sandman, and it was always one of those like, I'll get to it kind of comics. So I've got no hype or distaste for this.
Right,
movie.
I would read it before the show or at least read the first volume, because then at least you'll be like, okay, this is where it's, because otherwise the show
but
will
I thought
you.
the point of us doing the show is you with the knowledge of Sandman, and then me with not having read the book. We see what our opinions are of the show.
I care more about the comic book affecting you than I do about like the integrity of the show.
All right. Well, I just thought it'd make for an interesting review series.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time,
because we do go into a lot of these things, both of us having the comic book knowledge.
That's true. All right, fair. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that.
Okay, so next up we have one that I am excited for. Even though Game of Thrones ended terribly, I love that franchise. I just think that the ending sucked, but hey, whatever. I don't get to pick the ending. So this is House of Dragon.
Once again, prequel. So
is it?
You know,
it is a prequel, but it's explaining, because they always talk about the war and what happened with the dragons and how they rose and dominated everyone. This is that story.
Okay.
I think you can do like spin-offs to Game of Thrones and sequels. I don't think you should be doing prequels at this point. Like, I get it, filling in the gaps, but you'd only fill in the gaps of like a beloved show. It is not a beloved show anymore. I don't think this is going to do well. I'll probably watch it.
Oh, I'm going to watch it 100%. And if you're going to watch it, we're reviewing it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I guess I have to watch it.
My problem with this one is the same problems I have with Lord of the Rings. I do think they have an advantage of there's not as... So in Lord of the Rings, we're seeing the story of how Sauron came to power, which is how we got to the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit and all that stuff. Sauron coming to power is a big thing. In Game of Thrones, all we ever hear about with the Targaryens is that they did rule, they were removed, and now you're seeing, kind of like what you said, man, kind of just like the fat king, I think it was Robert was the original king.
Robert Baratheon.
Yeah, Robert Baratheon. He's, time has passed. So we're going to run into the same problem where it's like, well, the Targaryens are going to lose eventually.
Right.
But we don't know enough outside of they lost. And they were the kings, and that's that. You know, he went insane, and he was the Mad King. So I think it's going to have the advantage there, where we don't have a lot of the history, because if you've only watched the shows.
Yeah.
But it's still going to run into the same problem. We know the inevitable end of this show. you know?
Yeah, no. And it's like you're thinking about that, because I think part of the reason why you're like watching Game of Thrones initially is because you want to see like where it goes and who inherits and like.
Right.
That's like a central focus of the show, and if you remove that, like, just like in the last season, like if you remove people's interest in the characters and universe, like, do you still have a show? Do you have a show here? If people know where it ends and don't care where it goes,
right? Well, I think this and Lord of the Rings, they're trying to go for the Better Call Saul effect. Better Call Saul is technically a prequel to Breaking Bad, but they managed to tell its own story that was so interesting that it doesn't matter where it ends. Because in Better Call Saul, we get to see the rise and fall of Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
And we never knew that story. We just knew where he was at the beginning of Breaking Bad. And I think that's what they're trying to go with this. The downside is Saul's story, yes, we know where it ends, but you can make that interesting to get there because you didn't explore it in Breaking Bad. While in these, we're literally going to watch the rise and fall of Sauron. Well, I hope Sauron's story is interesting. You know, like...
Dude, isn't that guy just an eye?
That's what I mean. And like in the Targaryens, like, well, I hope it's interesting because we know where that's going, and you've also revealed some of it. While Saul Goodman, we didn't reveal anything other than... Yeah, now he just works for people like...
I think if you wanted to do this series, right, the time to have done it was if Game of Thrones didn't shit the bed and become a terrible series at the end, during the run of it.
Yeah.
You have them going like... during when Game of Thrones on the off season, you're doing Targaryen, so people are like always being fed Game of Thrones or whatever. People would have gotten really, really into it, and then at the same time in the final season where you get the reveal of like Jon Snow's familyhood, it is shown in the thing. Like you get to see that reveal almost side by side.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. What you don't do is ruin a show, ruin their legacy, and then try and bank off of it. Somebody in the chat said they weren't trying to fill in the lore; they're trying to fill in their quarterly earnings reports. I was like, correct, yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for this because I do love the Game of Thrones thing, and I disagree with the ending, but at least it was an ending. You know, I disagree with the ending to a lot of things I enjoyed. It's too much. The problem is some properties like Game of Thrones can't deliver an ending no matter what you want. Because somebody's going to be angry with each decision because it's gotten too big for its own good.
I don't think the issue was how it ended. Like, I don't care about where the characters all end. I care about the writing that went there. Like,
they rushed the hell out of that last season. It was like, we've been building up to this for 6 seasons or 7 seasons, and now everyone's here. Like, what?
So Dany forgot about the Iron Fleet. That's the quote from the writers, and then they kill one of the dragons. It's like, what do you mean she forgot? What? How does that work? You know, like those kinds of things that were very, and then you find out the motivation behind it all. Like they got their Star Wars prequel, so they wanted to be done with Game of Thrones and all that. So
which they don't have now, but that's another discussion.
No, they lost everything. I love it.
All right, so the next trailer on here is Walking Dead's final season 11. I stopped watching.
I'm out.
I was gonna say, I think I stopped watching this like season 6. Whatever season was Negan. What chat? And because we're doing this live, what season is Negan? That's the last one I watched. But anyway, they'll tell me in a minute. But we're not going to worry about that trailer because we don't know any of these characters anymore. Because all the ones I watched left the show.
Right?
I mean, legitimately with Walking Dead,
Daryl's the only one left, and he's getting a spinoff.
He's getting his own show, so he's leaving this.
Okay, my thing is, it's always going to be, I don't want to watch something set in a perpetual losing world. Like, I don't care about those storylines. Like, after a while, like, there's a novelty of it. Season 1 of Walking Dead, even season 2 was kind of interesting, and then it's like, oh my God, you guys will never win.
Right.
You will never beat all the zombies. You'll never have a home again. You'll never enjoy life.
Well, that became
again.
the ultimate, if you read the comic book, which I did, Walking Dead had that same problem, and Robert Kirkman kind of fixed it by giving them like a safe haven, and they were rebuilding humanity.
Right.
And like it kind of ended up, they had to fix a few more problems, and it basically ended on that note that we have the zombies have now decayed to the point where they are going away, and we are rebuilding.
Okay, I'd be fine with that.
Right, and so the story then turned into how do they survive during this period.
Right.
Take the COVID situation, but what if it was 30 years? What would the world look like after that? You know, like that's kind of what the zombies thing turned into.
Okay, gotcha. Well, see, I could mess with that. Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen the anime Dr. Stone, but it's like all of mankind gets turned into these like fossilized things, and then a guy wakes up from it, and he's the smartest guy on the planet, basically. So he's recreating science, like, or in like the world from scratch, but he's just incredibly intelligent. So he's like building the civilization, and he's found the acid to mummify other people. But it's really, really fun and interesting to watch them like rebuild. I'd love to watch that, like the problem solving aspect of it. Like, how do we get clean water again? How do we do this again?
Dude, have you ever seen The Colony from Sci-Fi?
Have not.
Dude, you should watch the first 2 seasons of The Colony. It's
putting it on my list.
It is a reality show. And I say reality with heavy quotes, but it's just a group of people they put into a like curated situation where they're like, the world fell apart, maybe they're zombies or whatever, but like you're stuck here and you have to figure out how to survive. And they just give them like, like a warehouse, and there's one dude, I don't remember if it's season 1 or season 2, but like he's an actual like college professor, and he invents like a gasifier using biodiesel because like they found a rotting pig, and it's like they were like, the professor actually knows what he's doing. These people are not like, there's like one who's like, like an Instagram model for like makeup, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, you're gonna have to pee in that bucket, figure it out. It's really cool, but like that kind of thing speaks to me, and
that'll be great.
Yeah, but just the first 2. The third season's kind of weird.
The next one that we have here is Star Trek Picard, the final season. Which Sal, you've watched season 1 and 2, right?
Absolutely not. It's a horrible show.
I want to watch it, and I intend to, and I think I'll be the only one. So, but since none of us have watched this show either, we probably can't say.
I've seen enough of this show to know that it sucks.
Damn.
I mean, we got Worf. I don't know if he's in the previous season.
No, he's not. Season 3 is TNG. It's just TNG. Like they're bringing the cast back. It's the apology season.
Okay.
I love a good apology
which leads
season.
us to an interesting one. I actually didn't watch the trailer. I thought they just announced it. So
no, me too.
Here's the interview with the vampire TV show. I think it's.
I wish they'd called it what you called it, which was Another Interview with a Vampire.
This is a lot of vampires and sex. So
so it's every vampire thing.
True. Except Twilight.
I mean, if you could live forever, of course
sex.
you're just gonna want sex all the time. I mean, I would.
You live forever. Hey guys, how about we do a Twilight watch?
Oh God, no!
But we have to do it in one sitting.
Oh great, we can watch the whole damn saga.
Oh, it's great, man. Pretty much it did it. It was really funny.
So I'm excited to see what they do with this on a TV show sense.
I couldn't care less, but
absolutely will not watch it.
Yeah, I will not be watching it.
I've never been less interested in something.
Yeah,
I'm sure. No, you have been less interested. One of these other trailers, you said that.
Yeah, exactly. The Predator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd watch Predator before I watch Interview with the Vampire.
Well, at least you got that.
I will say, and I've told this story before, but I don't think you've heard it. I have seen Twilight when it first came out, not knowing what it was about. My wife and I went to the movie theater, Husson, and we saw a vampire movie. We were like, oh, we like vampires. Let's go see what this is. And we saw Twilight 1 that way.
Oh, man.
It was a very jarring experience, to say the least.
Because it's super bad.
It's so weird. It just progressively gets worse and worse and worse. And it's like... in hindsight, the world was like, Edward versus Jacob, we're all about it. And I watched enough of that movie to be like, now, Edward's kind of boring, but Jacob's straight up like a creep, right?
No, the Wolf Boy is a creep.
Oh my God, he's
that
the
whole
worst.
that whole franchise is just like exercising your fetishes. Like, good for you, Stephanie Meyer. You creep.
Well, anyway, I liked Interview
wedding.
with the Vampire. I think this looks good. I'm gonna watch it. Last trailer to end on a high note.
Okay.
We're all gonna Teen Wolf the movie.
God
together.
damn it.
Okay, here's the issue. My girlfriend said if we talk about this, I don't know how in God's world she knew we would, but she said if you ever end up talking about this publicly, talk about the fact that Dylan O'Brien couldn't be in this movie, so Styles isn't in the movie. I don't know anything about Teen Wolf other than the fact that he is apparently the most beloved, the most liked, everything about the show. It is Dylan O'Brien's character. They went to Dylan O'Brien and they're like, we want to do it. He's like, I'd love to be a part of it, but how soon do we need to do it? And it was so soon. They didn't even think that like this incredibly high in demand actor in Hollywood's going to have other things to film. And they didn't accommodate him or try to find a way to make it work. So they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I know Tyler Hoechlin's in the show and I do love Tyler Hoechlin, but my girlfriend said that like in the show, Tyler Hoechlin is great, but it's great when he has a dynamic with Dylan O'Brien, with Styles. Like their characters vibe out really well.
So basically, this is going to be terrible.
Potentially will be. Dylan O'Brien just being the heart and soul of the show. It's weird to like, they do an Arrow reboot without Oliver Queen and that's Stephen Amell.
I can't believe that they made a successful show out of one of the worst movies I've
comedy
ever seen in my life.
It's a comedy,
Teen
and
Wolf
they turned it
is
into
so terrible.
And they turned it into like a serious drama.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mind bending.
So anyway,
Truly.
Teen Wolf.
Half of the Arrowverse actors.
Are we gonna watch the movie, guys?
No,
I'll watch
I didn't
it.
see the show. I'm not gonna watch this.
I didn't see the show, but I'll watch the movie.
Well, tell you what, when
sounds
we
terrible.
talk about the real movie, then we can watch. Then we can talk about it because I've seen that at least 3 times. With Michael J. Fox, super bad. Don't watch it. It's very bad.
I love how I got Sal real good, and then I'm like, we're gonna leave it a high note. God damn it!
Cool. What is it? Teen Wolf the movie. God damn it.
Teen Wolf the movie.
But that's it. That is all. So, according to this list, all the trailers. And I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, guys, you missed this one obscure.
Well, just look at the screen. There was only a certain amount of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say, awesome that we got San Diego Comic-Con back.
Yeah.
Very lackluster San Diego Comic-Con, in my opinion, compared to what we've had in the past.
Yes. It's good to know. As the person who didn't go,
Right.
It's great. It's a great feeling.
It was my first. I had a
like
blast.
a pinch of FOMO.
No.
Like,
In person, I agree. In person was a great time. I'm saying the reveals. The
I
reveals.
think the
to San
Marvel
Diego-
stuff was so big. It's like there was
Yeah.
a lot of Marvel stuff.
Yeah, but
Shoot.
normally we got a lot of other things too. We didn't get other things.
No,
we really
we
just
didn't.
got. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Fair enough.
Well, hopefully there'll be more news. In general, we're like, the whole world is ramping back up, especially Hollywood is ramping back up considerably since COVID.
Yeah.
And they're not just ramping up, they're ramping tenfold their old production aspects. We're going balls out. We're probably going to get a Power Rangers live action movie series and TV show series together pretty soon, too.
They're
which is gonna
rebooting it again, though. They're rebooting off of the last reboot.
Yeah. That last reboot didn't have legs to stand on anymore. I
thought the
Power
movie was
Rangers
great.
pitch.
I liked the spin on the Green Ranger to make Rita the original Green
Yeah, that's
Ranger.
a cool
I thought that was a
idea.
cool take.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think there's issues in the movie that don't line in any of the actors or any of like the big ideas. It's that the suits look stupid.
Oh, the suits needed
It's like
rework. Yeah,
right. Which
that's
we
like the
could do it.
Turtles. The Turtles in
I
the
would
Michael Bay
love to do
movies. Like,
just
who thought ogres was a great idea for the Turtles?
Absolutely. I would love to do my pitch on what I think a Power Rangers movie universe could look like, because I have like a great pitch deck for what that would be, because that is my favorite concept that is never
Have you
explored
read
properly.
the comics?
Yeah, I've read the
It's
comics.
explored properly.
Well, no, that's what I meant. Like, I meant in bigger media, in media that makes money, Benny. You know what I'm talking about? Make the world excited about Power Rangers again.
Anyway,
I buy my comic books like everybody else. Okay.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Absolutely Marveling DC. This video is very long, so I'm going to bring it to a close before we all just ramble and tangent. We have plenty of other videos for that. Overall, anything you're super excited for, Sal?
I don't even remember what we watched, man.
So
yeah,
no, you're
there's
not.
plenty. Yeah, Prey,
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. The Marvel
I'm
stuff,
excited for that.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
Marvel
Prey.
stuff, definitely.
Make sure to. 'cause
Prey.
I can't wait to watch it again.
I'm excited for
I'm
the
gonna-
Marvel stuff, the DC stuff. Probably House of Dragons, probably my favorite one out of those.
I'm probably gonna
and maybe
watch
Lord
House
of the
Dragons. Is a for sure for me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
shit on that movie.
Lord of
on
the
that.
Rings, I'm actually more excited for seeing that trailer.
Better trailer.
I don't know.
Looks great. Looks cool.
I don't know what
I'm-
they're gonna do with the story at this point, because I'm still in that boat of like, I know where it's going.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings in the Multiverse of Madness. It's different universes.
But all right, cool. Hassan, top tier trailer. Which one you picking?
I'm thinking She-Hulk and Lord of the Rings and Targaryen. Those are the ones I'm gonna watch. So
Okay. All right.
That's what you got out of me.
Well, I'm Benny. That's Hassan. That's Sal. Check out our sponsor, G Fuel, by using the code comics at checkout. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Help us hit that 100,000 marker. We'll see you guys next time right here.